So right now we're on our way to a building that I want to show you because I had a colleague call me a while back and he said, Dolf, my business is expanding. I've got more staff. I need more space. I need to lease another building. And he's also kind of a student of my teachings on commercial real estate. And I said, have you not been listening to anything I've said? He said, what do you mean? I said, haven't I been teaching you that the trick in commercial real estate is finding a tenant for a vacant building? He said, yeah, I know that. But in this case, I need more space myself. Wait a minute. You are the tenant. You are going to be the tenant. You can find a vacant building and buy it for a song because it's vacant, and then you'll provide the tenancy. You are the tenant yourself. He said, I get it now. This is why I work with you. So anyway, we're going to look at that building, and I'm pretty excited by it because it turned out to be a stunning deal for a number of reasons that I'll share with you when we get there. So this is the building here. As you can see, it's a single-story building. You can't quite see how vast it is. It occupies a large piece of land, and it was perfect for the needs of my colleague, and it was vacant. Now, normally when you analyze a property, you have to see what are they collecting in rent per square foot and how does it compare with market rents per square foot. So we couldn't do that, but we did know what it was worth to us in terms of, you know, we'd have to rent it out anywhere else if we wanted to lease a building from someone. So we knew what the dollars per square foot would be that we could afford. Turned out to be a sensational deal. We got it at a discount. I say we using the royal we. He got it at a discount because it was vacant. But in the meantime, we had a tenant for it, namely ourselves. It's kind of a win-win situation. Then on top of that, there's a lot of extra land here. Currently, it's in car parking space, but it's got more car parks than the building really needs, even by they measure them in terms of how many car parks per 1,000 square feet. So this land could either be subdivided and sold off, or you could build on this, maybe a residential development just beyond this building on the far side. There's another residential development going in. There's obviously demand here. So it was done at the right time. And then what made it even sweeter is when it was acquired, you could accelerate the depreciation on chattels, fixtures, and fittings. So, there's a way of depreciating things other than the building. The building itself is deemed by the IRS to have a useful life of 27.5 years. So you can depreciate it at about 2.8% per year. But all the non-load-bearing walls, the fixtures, the fittings, the wiring, the plumbing, the carpets, the suspended ceilings, the air conditioning plants, they can be depreciated at a higher rate. And then the government introduced what's called accelerated depreciation, where you could take multiple years' worth of this depreciation and claim it in the first year. So that in actual fact, in the first year, despite all the acquisition costs, it was actually cash flow positive. So it's a great deal when you analyze all these things together. And you just have to be aware of the crucial factor in a commercial property is finding the tenant. When you're looking for something for yourself, or as we said earlier, when you have a franchisee who wants a building, it's almost, it's too good to be true. And they say that when things are too good to be true, they usually are. That's usually true, but not always. And sometimes you'll just find stunning deals. So always keep your eyes peeled. I look for vacant or semi-vacant buildings because I know when I can find a tenant for them, I massively increase the value of the building. And usually the banks will finance them to the point that they cover the purchase price. I love that. I can't do that in residential, and I certainly can't do that in other investments. If I'm buying stocks or bonds, or certificates of deposit or treasury bills, I need the cash for the full purchase price to buy them. Whereas in this real estate game, I've got people lining up wanting to give me the money to pay my full purchase price if I put the deal together properly. I love that way of doing commercial real estate. And I know in some parts of the country, they often try and sell you a property on what's called a pro forma basis. And that's really fancy, almost Latin speak for we know and acknowledge that this building is vacant, but we're going to pretend it's fully leased. If this building were fully leased at the current market rentals of, say, $25 a foot, then it would be worth $10 million. So we want you to pay us $10 million for it. And my response to a situation like that is, but it's not fully leased. And they usually say, yes, but it could easily be. So just get a tenant and it'll be worth $10 million. I said, well, if it's so easy to lease it that quickly, why don't you find the tenant and then I'll buy it from you? When the seller recognizes that a vacant building isn't worth much, they'll let it go for a much cheaper price. Because it shows you what can be done when you have a tenant in your pocket.